Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mastering the Laws of Attraction. I'm your host, Coach Renz. And if you watched our show last night, The Honey Pot, then one of the things that you were privy to is the announcements that we made about our different programs. And based on the law of attraction, there are two different things I want to talk to you guys today about. But before I go there, I want to give you guys a present, a gift. All right, I want to give you something that has been such a great benefit to my life over the years. Now, the thing about it is, I know, based on the title of this video, you see it's already talking about forgiveness. So you have an idea and you're thinking already, well, I have a forgiving heart. I don't hold animosity or judgment towards people, that I forgive people for the wrongs that they've caused me. And I have also forgiven myself for the things that I have held on to that I may have done to other people or in other situations. But let me give you a clue, a look into a deeper understanding of forgiveness. And I am not trying to sway you differently from anything that you believe as far as philosophies or society or religion or anything like that. Matter of fact, they all talk about this, but let's take it to another level. Let's go from milk to strong drink in this aspect of life, of forgiveness, and the power that it truly has, that when you recognize this power, that then you'll be able to move in circles and to achieve things that you haven't been able to achieve before. You see, when I was growing up in Marietta, I grew up most of my life with my grandmother. I loved my grandmother. She was the most important person to me in my entire life. That from as far back as I can remember until she passed away, there was no one else in my life that had more meaning to me. Now, I love my mother, I love my father, I love my brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody else. But when I tell you that my grandmother is the love of my life, that is true. Now, the thing about it is that my grandmother loved me dearly, and she showed me tons of affection. She never displayed any type of hate, discontentment, never did me wrong or played me, did me dirty or anything like that. She showed me true love as well, right? So I loved her, she loved me. And this may come to a shock to some of my family members. Only a few family members actually know about this. But there was a time, after I turned 14, there was a time that my uncle, her youngest son, my grandmother's youngest son, he was having so many problems, so many issues, and he was going in and out of incarcerations. And I would watch her just go back and forth and trying to make this right, and trying to deal with this, and trying to keep her son. And at that time frame, I couldn't understand it. For me, it was a point of anger and frustration, because I was like, I'm here. I'm doing what's necessary. Why are you giving him so much attention? And I'm sure if you're a middle child, or you're you felt this before, this is kind of the story of the prodigal son returns. Like, here's the son that stayed there, but then so much love and gratitude, so much love and attention is given to the one that ran away, right? So I was feeling this way. I was feeling the son that stayed. And then for a moment, I decided I left. I went to the Marine Corps and I left. And then my grandmother was there, and she passed away. A few years later, she passed away after I went to the Marine Corps. Now, the thing about it is that two things happened out of that. The summer before I left with the Marine Corps to go away to Bosnia for 6 months, my brother said something to me. He said, dude, if you leave, grandmother won't be here when you come back. And so I tried to not go, but I had no standing to be able to present that to the military, so I had to leave. Around about the 5th month of being gone, my grandmother passed away. So, I make my way back, for the funeral. Flight problems, I missed the funeral. So I get back to America. And at her grave, I was so angry, because what my brother told me again is that she died of a broken heart. Her husband had passed away some years earlier. Her youngest son was having societal issues. Her son, the next level son, my Uncle Denon, had passed away. And my brother had said that she died of a broken heart. That bothered me a lot. And then he told me that, and I had left, so she died of a broken heart. But for years, I blamed my uncle. I blamed the youngest uncle. I blamed him. I said it was his fault. It was his fault that my grandmother had passed away. It was his fault that she had died. And for years, I blamed him. And about 6 years later, when I learned this power of the true power of forgiveness, although he hadn't known that how I felt, even though he probably had felt that there was a distance between us, and maybe he thought it was because I was just different from a majority of people in my family, but he knew there was a distance, but he never knew why. And so I pulled him aside at one family gathering, and I explained to him how I had felt all these years, and I apologized and asked him to forgive me for holding on to that towards him, for blaming him. And because I know how much he loved his mother and how much he loved his father, I know that at that moment when he found out how I felt, that it hurt him right then. But he told me it was okay. And we parted ways, in a better position and with a better relationship thereafter. So I thought that I had came to a level of forgiveness in that. But then 3 years ago when I was practicing a technique to forgive people at a deeper level, to forgive people at a level that truly alleviates you from that, I realized that there were 2 other people I had to forgive. I blamed my grandmother for leaving me. And I was upset and angry that she left me. And I had to forgive her for leaving me. So I went through that same process to ask her and create forgiveness for her for leaving me. And then I had to find the forgiveness within myself for leaving her and going away instead of just walking away from my military duties and just being there with her. And I had to forgive myself. You see, I learned that we create stories for our first level of offense, but there may be deeper levels, and you have to dive deep into those levels in order to truly find forgiveness. And that's what I had to do. And when I found that level of forgiveness and understood how the power of that freed me and freed everything around me, freed my energy and allowed me to grow into a better person, then I realized that I had to do that for every aspect of my life. And since that time frame, there are many people that I have called and apologized to and asked for their forgiveness that I have held animosity towards. And there are others that I may not be able to call or reach out to, but I have went through the meditative practices in order to find that level of forgiveness. And since doing that, the power that I have been able to receive, the release of pressure and pain and guilt and shame that has left my body, even levels of fear that went away because I understood the deeper levels of forgiveness. Oh, what a world we could have if people understood this level of forgiveness. But that is one of the things that I want to be able to teach you guys in our 360-degree transformational program. Only 50 slots will be available. So if you're curious, if you want to know, then email me at masteringyou10@gmail.com. masteringyou10@gmail.com. If you truly want to learn this power and all the other powers of having a 360-degree transformation and the greatest year you've ever had.